Welcome to In the Papers with Pullman Hotels, partners of all your travels.
And for that, James is right here in the studio. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Marcus. So we're going to start off with Le Parisien, or Aujourd'hui en France, as it's known in the rest of the country. And Laurent Blanc is on the front page. He tells all, according to the paper, this going back to, I suppose, especially the disastrous World Cup campaign of the French side. Now, he has decided, as we've seen in the past couple of days, to punish the 23 players who were on that World Cup squad by not allowing any of them to participate in the France-Norway friendly match that is coming up shortly. At first, apparently, he was only going to punish the leaders of the so-called strike. This was the infamous moment during the World Cup campaign after the France-Mexico catastrophe when they were effectively knocked out. And before the final match against South Africa, when the players refused to train, they got on the bus, the team bus or the team coach, and refused to come off to train. And it created an absolute furore in France. So he thought, first of all, he would just punish the leaders of that strike. Then he decided, no, everyone is responsible. None of those 23 will play against Norway.
Well, of course, you could make the argument that, yes, there were some leaders, but there were also a lot of people or a lot of players who tacitly agreed to the strike.
Indeed, and I suppose just went along with it because the leaders, I suppose, were so forceful in their bid not to play or not to train. Blanc knows where he's going is a very positive sounding headline on the front page of L'Equipe. So
reassuring to French football fans.
Exactly, after, I suppose, years of Domenech woes. And inside, the journalist asks him if he would have come out of that bus. If he had been a player, would he have come off the bus and insisted on training, unlike any of the 23 players? He said, in the first case, I wouldn't have got onto the bus. So this was the moment really which captured all of the tough, I suppose, problems in South Africa. He also says that Benzema and Ribéry are still eligible for selection on the French side. These are two players who've been embroiled in a scandal about having slept with an underage prostitute in 2008. Roselyne Bachelot, the health minister or the sports minister, has in the past said that because they are now going to appear before the courts, they should not be eligible for selection. He says, look, that's a private matter. The fact that they are embroiled in this case, it's not favourable for their reputation. But he says we're not all saints. But I suppose we're not all embroiled in scandals like that either, are we?
No, we're not.
Now, let's move on to Libération. The war of the leaks, or the leaks war. This is, I suppose, going back to the WikiLeaks story. And they say that really it has just shifted the whole way in which news and journalism it works because of the way in which so many documents were put up online. And it could even precipitate or cause American troops to retreat or come out of the country, come out of Afghanistan more quickly as a result. So it has had a massive impact. That's what they're saying on the front page.
Which, of course, goes against what Barack Obama has been telling us. He sort of says that there were no major relations and there will be no major effects of this leak.
Right. So I suppose perhaps being a little bit exaggerating somewhat on the front page there. But inside they say that it shows the power of the internet and the influence of the internet in journalism. A newspaper couldn't put up 92,000 documents on its pages. And the fact that WikiLeaks formed an agreement with The Guardian, The New York Times, Der Spiegel was, I suppose, a model for great investigative journalism, because the papers then went on to verify the facts, check the legality of, I suppose, putting all of this information out there. So very positive. Also in Libération, they're looking at reporters who have converted to becoming comic strip artists. And apparently it's an increasing trend in France in particular, investigative journalists who turn their hands to painting or to comic strips as a means of, I suppose, communicating or dealing with the issues in various different conflicts or countries. There's been a prize handed out by the French radio station France Inter since 1991. The 2010 prize went to an artist who portrayed the Clearstream scandal in France, the Clearstream case about kickbacks for arms sales to Taiwan, which embroiled Nicolas Sarkozy and others. And I suppose child soldiers in Rwanda, that's another issue that has been portrayed by the comic strip.
Well, what is it they say? A picture says 1,000 words.
Exactly, and they're saying that it allows for a lot of subjectivity. You can relate to a drawing more easily, more readily. So an interesting take on, I suppose, investigative journalism. Now we'll have a quick look to finish with Le Figaro. Towns which are refusing to put up CCTV cameras. Apparently, a number of towns, especially those governed by left-leaning mayors, such as Martine Aubry, the head of the Socialist Party, who is the mayor of Lille, they're not in favour of CCTV cameras, a measure that is being promoted by Brice Hortefeux, the Interior Minister, and they're just refusing to go down that road. They they think that the way forward is community policing, put police into communities, into tough neighbourhoods. That's the way to avoid, I suppose, youth violence and other problems like that, not having a surveillance society, a Big Brother type society. So it's, I suppose, an ideological clash between the left and the right in France.
Yet another one. All right, thanks very much, James Creedon, for taking us through the papers this morning. You're watching France 24.
You were watching In the Papers, presented by Pullman Hotels.
Let's also bring an update of our top stories today. US President Barack Obama is playing down the leak of more